and welcome to TSB Means Business, a program brought to you by the Savings Bank. My name's Allie Houghton, and today joining me are Diane Chandler, VP of Cash Management, Pete Johnston, Senior VP and Senior Commercial Banking Officer, and Nick Kafalis, VP of Commercial Banking. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So Pete, to start, how would you describe yours, Diane's, and Nick's roles at the bank?
Well, the bank has been around for a long time, but really we've been doing commercial banking, working with business customers and real estate investors for about the past 14 years. I'm the team leader. Nick is one of the bankers, the lenders on the team, and Diane is doing cash management for our business customers.
Diane, can you tell us a little bit about your background, how you got started in cash management?
Sure. My entire adult life, I've always worked in service industries. My first career was actually in retail store management. At the time, I lived in New York for a while and managed a specialty department store. With the move back to Massachusetts, I took a few years off to be a full-time mom, which is also a service industry. And got into banking when I was offered a position to manage the Bank at Work program for a community bank that was in the part of the state that I lived at the time. So with that, when that particular bank decided to roll out online banking for business customers, it was kind of a natural. I was already calling on business customers for me to take that role as, at the time, it was called Business Services. When that community bank was acquired by a regional, larger regional bank, I was asked to stay on, and I stayed a couple years as a cash management sales officer there, which was actually a good move for me because that's how I learned about the services that community banks were not quite offering at that time. And then I was asked to join another community bank, well known in that area, and I did, to start up the cash management department there. Eventually I moved to this part of the state to be closer to family who had settled in this area, and I've been lucky enough to settle at the Savings Bank. Just working on developing the services that we offer to business customers, making sure we're providing the personal attention that we know we should, while still following the rules that the regulators require us.
When we say cash management, what are we really talking about?
Yeah, that's a good question because I'd never actually touched cash. So it has to do with any services we offer to business deposit customers. So whether it be making sure we have the right deposit products, the checking accounts that they might need, to basic online banking with or without bill pay. And then there's the more robust features, like everybody pretty much has heard about remote deposit capture, which is where a customer can have a scanner in their office and not have to come to the bank to deposit checks. We offer ACH origination. So ACH stands for the Automated Clearinghouse, which is the vehicle that the Federal Reserve uses to move money between banks. So customers, if they use that service through our online banking, they have an additional feature. They can actually originate payments to pay their employees by direct deposit. They can pay vendors. They can send out payments as distributions. They can also originate collections, either to collect from their clients or whatever their need might be. So that is a cash management service. We also have a feature, there's wire transfers that some businesses need to do. Some of their vendors need to be paid right away. Sometimes it's distributions that go out by wire transfer, whatever. For some customers, they will utilize a feature where they can actually originate those transactions online from their own office rather than coming into the branch. We also offer a service called Zero Balance Account, ZBA service, which allows them to have more than one checking account, but pretty much just always deposit to one account, and transactions that hit the other account are automatically covered. So that falls under the umbrella of cash management. We also partner with a company that offers merchant card services. That falls under that umbrella. What have I forgotten?
That's a pretty comprehensive list. It's a lot.
So that some banks call it treasury management. So the terms are really interchangeable.
Nick, for a lot of customers that you work with, why do you think this service is very important to small businesses nowadays?
I think it overall captures the complete financial experience for a small business owner, other than just the loan servicing part of it and the retail. This captures those loose pieces that seem to go unnoticed from time to time until a company starts to grow, whereas they realize that they're more important and more avenues to reach out to. So working with cash management, it ties the whole relationship together.
Yeah. I think some people feel that a smaller bank can't always compete with the larger banks when it comes to small business, meeting small business needs. Do any of you have certain thoughts on that? Do you feel like a small bank can compete?
Absolutely. And I think the difference is, once upon a time, it was the big banks that had the resources and the personnel to be able to develop these things. But over time, certain vendors and suppliers have developed their own programs that they can sell to smaller banks that wouldn't be able to necessarily offer those things on their own. And so, never before has there been such an opportunity for community banks like ours to be able to offer things that previously could only be offered by the big banks.
And actually, I think we offer them in a better way because the big banks today will set up a business customer with a service, but if they have a difficulty, they're just given an 800 number to call and they're speaking to whoever. We have a really good support team here at the Savings Bank. We have a direct line now that goes right to that team, and they sit right in downtown Wakefield. And we offer a better service component with those features than the bigger banks seem to, based on what I hear from business customers out there.
So Diane, you feel that TSB can really compete with the larger banks when it comes to cash management?
Oh, absolutely. For small business, we really offer the services, most of the services that they would need. So Fortune 500 companies, maybe not. But that's not who we're focused on. We're focused on small business.
Yeah. Is there something that each of you enjoy the most when working with small businesses in the communities?
Me personally, I like to take a business plan from a small business owner and watch that develop into fruition, whereas they now become successful and give back into the community, and it shows it's a win-win for not only the business, for the bank, but also for the community as a whole. So that's very gratifying as a commercial lender.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that, Pete?
Other than echoing what Nick just said, I had taken some notes from some of the questions that we knew we'd be discussing today, and that's exactly what I love, is to see someone be successful and to translate that success into supporting the community in a greater way.
Yeah. How do you feel the TSB commercial banking department and cash management work together?
Well, prior to Diane's arrival, a lot of the things that needed to be done cobbled together and not the most organized way. And so there really wasn't an expert and someone that understood cash management and had a background and had been doing it for a long time and kind of knew what the pitfalls were and as well as the opportunities. And so, it was pretty great that Diane was able to be available at that time, and we had a need. And that's really what doing what we do every day is all about, whether it's for our own needs or whether it's for the perceived needs of our customers and future customers, is find a need, fill that need, and do it in the best way you can with people who know what they're talking about.
Yeah, just to add a little bit to that, if I may, it's a team concept that the Savings Bank has developed, and it's a one-stop shopping. So we have all the services that we can provide for a small business owner right down the line. So they can come in, meet with me. I can introduce them to a retail branch manager. You can also introduce them to Diane for cash management. So while they're there on one stop, they can get all their business banking completed in one day.
In terms of getting started, yes. And what I do is, for businesses who are going to be using some of the more robust features of our cash management offering, I will actually go to their office, sit with them at their computer. You asked the question about what we like most about what we do. And my answer has always been the same as long as I've been in banking. When I first started, business online banking was new to a lot of people, and a lot of business owners, office managers were still not comfortable with the computer, the internet. And I took a lot of joy in sitting with them and showing them how to use the features and having them say, oh, this is great, it's going to make my life so much easier. And it's still the same. I like to be able to go to their office, help them with something that's going to make their life easier and save time and energy for them.
So a small
Yeah.
business owner doesn't really have to feel like they're an IT expert
No,
to be
not at
able
all.
to tackle the cash management
Not at all.
services.
Not at all. I will go in person as many times as I need to, and then if there's a technical difficulty, password reset, or just a quick, I forgot how to do this, we have that support team that I mentioned who are very good at taking care of those issues.
So before Diane came to the savings bank, it was kind of a little bit more on the commercial banking team to handle this. Why do you feel like it was so important for us to single out that role and really bring an expert to the team?
Well, one of the things that we're trying to do as a bank is we've built a portfolio of loans that's pretty real estate concentrated. And one of the things that we will look in our crystal ball, or we'll look backwards, I guess, and say we haven't done as well as we could have, is to support the local business owners. And we knew that in order to support the business owners that we needed to have something like this. And again, as I said before, we weren't expert in it. And so I don't ever want to do something that I only know how to do halfway and offer it as though I'm an expert in it. I'd much rather have someone that knows what they're talking about to offer those things. So again, sense a need, fill it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what advices do you think you'd give to a small business owner looking to add cash management to their toolbox?
Well, I mean, the first thing they can do is talk to other business owners. How do you do this? Talk to their banker about what solutions might make sense for them. Not every solution, just because it's offered, is right for every business. It depends on who their clients are, who are they collecting payments from, who are they making payments to, the nature of the business, and so on. So.
Just to add to that point that Diane just referenced, ask the questions to the banker and let the banker pull the pieces together to help resolve your questions. And that's what we're good at, and that's what we take pride in, and that's what we like to give back to the community.
So there may be some aspects of cash management that may not work for everyone, but
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, there are instances when someone will ask a question that it absolutely doesn't make sense for them to get into what they're asking about, but it's mostly because they don't understand necessarily at as deep a level as we may what they're actually asking about. So, but again, it's a consultative process. So if we can provide a level of expertise that will help them, that's what it's all about.
And to add to that, it starts with a conversation. Have a conversation so we get to understand your needs, the business owner's needs, and then help present a solution to their needs.
So in wrapping up, is there anything else you'd like to add, Diane?
Well, I love what I do. I love the small banking environment. I mentioned when you asked me about my background that I did spend a couple years at a larger regional bank, which, like I said, at the time was a good move. But I'm thrilled to be back at a community bank where we do what we know is the best thing for our customers and for the community. And that's about it for me.
Okay. Anything else, Nick or Pete, you'd like to add?
Well, I think it's an interesting dynamic that we have certain things that we say in our business, like small or community, and what does that mean in some ways? I mean, I heard you say it, and I thought to myself, we know what we mean when we say something like that. But I think when we say small, the general public doesn't necessarily know what that means. But we're a bank that has $600 million in assets. That doesn't seem small to the general person in the community.
Right.
It's big enough to really have an impact, and yet small enough to still be able to offer a personalized approach. So, I think among all of us, I think each one of us has probably worked at a financial institution that was bigger than the one that we're at right now. I made a conscious decision many years ago that I wanted to go the community bank route. I didn't want to be in a big place where I would get moved around from department to department, that I would have to specialize in something and pass off something else. And, you know, I think that there's value in dealing with bankers who can be generalists, but who also can refer someone when a specialist is needed. So.
Yeah.
I would piggyback on that one, Pete. I think that's very well said. And we are here, we're local, we're innovative, and we're trusted in the community for over just about 150 years now.
Well, great. Thank you. Thank you for all joining us this
Thank you,
month.
Al.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. And we'll be back next month with an all-new edition of TSB Means Business.